Welcome back to another episode of the Family Album. I'm your host, AJ Tenari.
And I'm Matt Glass.
Last week, you heard our family meeting where we discussed how our music habits have changed after starting the podcast.
Yeah, and I gotta say, it definitely has in some ways. But,
You can listen to the episode, of course.
Yeah, you're not getting any freebies this time.
No. We've given way too many away.
That's true. But AJ, we're back in the regular format this week.
We are.
And we have two albums.
We do have two albums.
At the start of this month in December.
It is. It's not themed.
It's not themed.
At least not to the month.
Not yet.
Yeah, but we do have a bit of a theme today for both of these albums. A theme that you brought on the show, Matt.
Yeah, they're 40-ish minutes.
That's right.
I don't know. I thought of maybe this time around, we talk about some albums that are a tad uncommon. That was the word I kept using over and over again. Uncommon. And I think we did a pretty good job of finding two very uncommon albums.
That we did. By uncommon, I mean just like albums that aren't really talked about that often or brought up like in the mainstream at all.
Like, you really won't hear this on the radio.
Oh, absolutely
not. Like, we've definitely had albums that will not be heard on the radio.
Yeah.
But I feel like these, without a doubt, like they're will
even
not
more
hear
underground, dude.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. But Matt, what albums do we have? What are we talking about this week?
The album that AJ brought me was Bundles by Soft Machine.
And the album that Matt brought me was A History of Public Relations Dilemma by the Petrojvic Blasting Company. Petrovic.
The problem is there's like a J in there, so I've been saying Petrojvic.
Petrojvic. Well, it doesn't matter because they're just called the Blasting Company now.
As of right now, yeah.
Maybe they took it out for that exact reason because people are dumb to pronounce it.
Probably, yeah. People, as in you and me. But these two albums are very much not in the mainstream, not very talked about, especially my album.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, finding history for my album was honestly pretty fucking scarce.
Difficult.
Just a little bit, but it's there. And they actually have quite a good presence now compared to when they started in 2008.
That's good to hear. My album definitely is not popular at all in the mainstream. It's decently popular in the prog scene, as this is a progressive rocks jazz fusion album. But it kind of like goes a little bit under the radar. Highly regarded, but not talked about super much.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But Matt, what album do you want to start with this week?
Ooh, that's a good question. How about we get my album out of the way?
Okay.
Because I definitely have a lot of things to say about your album.
All right, that's good with me.
I mean, I have a lot of things to say about my album too, but that's all.
But mine's kind of special.
It's a little quirky. It's just bundles. Bundles of joy.
Just bundles.
For a little bit of history, the Petrojvic Blasting Company, now known as the Blasting Company, was a project started in 2008 by two half-brothers by the names of Justin Rubenstein and J.R. Kaufman. It has since expanded to 5 members, but I have not been able to confirm or deny, I suppose, whether or not they were there for the original recording of this album, A Brief History of Public Relations, Dilemmae. This album is quite interesting. It is sort of like a honky-tonk. That's like, I think, one of the best ways to describe it because like the
flow, the bounciness. It's very much like a tribute to the early 1900s.
Yeah.
That's like sailor music, I believe.
Sailor music, I would even say just like carnival band music, even. But to bring up the idea of sailors, there is a bit of a nautical theme throughout this entire album, which is part of the reason why I picked it, because I really like it for that.
He's going through a pirate phase right now.
I am. Salt Lick the Briny.
He's back. Yeah, he's real now.
He's about to become Matt Glass, or Matt Glass is about to become Salt Lick the Briny.
This is origin story.
It's true. Yeah, my villain origin story. But this album, fun fact, this is because the history is kind of over at this point. Not going to lie to you.
There's not a lot.
There really is not a lot. Yeah. They have projects after this, by the way, and they're pretty good. I've listened to a couple other things, including the soundtrack to a very beloved children's miniseries on Cartoon Network, Over the Garden Wall.
I have heard that, specifically from you.
Yeah. Yeah, he hasn't watched it, which is a shame because it's very, very good.
I do hear it's very good.
Yeah, no. This album, though, I discovered before I even watched Over the Garden Wall. This was actually brought to my attention years ago by new favorite, I guess one of our favorite guests of the podcast, Emma Strauss.
That's true.
Yeah. So shout out to Emma.
Shout out to Emma. Check out that episode.
Check out that episode.
A lot of fun.
It was very good. It's where Salt Lick the Briny came in. Wow,
That's
a full circle moment right
Wow.
there. It's incredible.
I ring the bell. Wow.
That was special.
It was.
But anyway, let's jump right in.
Sounds good, Matt.
The first track on this record is The Hungry Klezmorim.
That's how you pronounce it. Okay.
That was a guess.
Okay. I was going to say Klezmorim, but Klezmorim sounds cooler, so let's go with that.
It's a fun opener. It's immediately kind of like a...
It sets the tone.
Yeah.
Almost immediately.
It's like there's like a sense of urgency with it.
Yeah. It's got a bit of pa feel.
A little bit,
Yeah.
which is going to be a motif of this album. All the way through.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, though, on this track in particular, the tuba is working fucking overtime.
Oh, very much so. It's very like rapid, like paced melody that it's going for, and that it's driving the entire song as well.
It's crazy. Like, most of, because I don't know if I really gave a good indicator of what kind of like instrument lineup is in this.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of brass, a lot of brass,
A lot of accordion.
a lot of accordion, which I
Yeah.
also really like. There are some like plucked strings somewhere.
Yeah, especially at the end.
I think there's like a mandolin or something that's like sort of
Noodling
plucked.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very sparse percussion that appears.
And most of the percussion is either like a oompa,
Yeah, like
kind
bass
of
snare.
or brushes.
Yeah,
there were
with
definitely some
brushes.
brushes
Yeah.
that were happening. Also, some really, I hate to say it, but non-existent upright bass that I
Yeah.
could hear in some parts, but not in other
others.
parts. However, I don't think the experience was entirely detracted. But the parts where I did hear it, you know, I was
It could have been
appreciative.
better if it was there.
It could have been better if it was there more, but I did
Yeah.
appreciate it when it was there.
Gotcha.
Which before we even continue, I will say I'm gonna get this up like out of the way up front. This is very much a first attempt
Oh, absolutely.
project,
Yeah.
which I can very much respect because the fact that they got all these instruments together is enough for me.
Oh, yeah.
But there are some times where the mixing is not entirely the best.
No, not at all. Like, especially like the drums. Like, you can just kind of hear the space they were recorded in. Like, whenever you hear them. And like it doesn't sound super like lush or super like elite
Yeah.
in terms of his mixing. It's very much kind of like homegrown.
Oh, yeah.
Which can add to the charm, especially if they're going for the vibe of like they're like a street band in like that era.
And like a vintage
Yeah.
sort of like...
So I think that it's kind of like up to personal preference. Me personally, I think it could have been a little tweaked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I could definitely agree with that. Especially when you're trying to listen to some of the lyrics.
Yeah.
Yeah, because one of them is just completely swallowed up.
Oh, absolutely.
And
yeah.
unfortunately, that actually is that one in particular is one of my favorite tracks for the instrumental. But like,
I wish the vocals would kind of pierce through.
but we can get to that one in a moment.
Yeah. Matt, what is the song about?
This song is about, from what I remember, like 4 minutes. So,
Oh, thank you.
you're welcome. Yeah, I hope that cleared things up.
Yeah, I really did.
That's my way of saying I'm not really sure. From
Yeah.
what I understand, they're on the run from like something, and I believe they're like catching a bunch of like trains.
Okay.
I think it's what I remember the lyrics saying briefly.
Standing out to you.
At least like I think. I don't know. It's
Hey, if not, in the description.
in the description.
There we go.
That's the other thing about it that sucks. The lyrics are like not anywhere.
Yeah.
Like on Spotify, there are some songs with lyrics.
They're on Genius.
They are on Genius.
Why you gotta call me out like that?
Yeah, I don't really know what the song is about. There's definitely a sense of urgency that is in this song from the way the
driven
horns,
by the music.
the horns are like
Yeah.
it's so like yeah. I was thinking of a different song when I was doing that,
That's okay.
but yeah, no. Honestly, like this album really reminds me of like Cuphead music, but like less jazz, but more like
Yeah, whatever style they're going for. I'll say, like I said, this definitely kind of sets the tone for this whole album. It's not a tone I'm really into.
that's fair.
Yeah. I feel like, especially on this track, the vocals I do not care for. I feel like they are
Yeah.
not the strongest vocalists, especially when they try to hit high notes.
No. Cause I think it's the two brothers that are
Yeah.
singing from what I know. And one of them kind of struggles a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's fine for what it's trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like vocally, this is definitely not the strongest album at all from
No.
either When they harmonize, it's kind of nice. And then when the one lady sings, it's
it's
nice.
the best like vocal performance on the album.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like a runaway train.
Okay, based off what you've known.
From what I know and from what I can gather from the music.
Well, if not, check it out in the description. I think it does set the tone for the album. It is very impressive. They were able to kind of like swing for the fences on their first attempt.
Yeah,
just kind of like get all this done. I feel like the whole just concept and feel works better on different tracks.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I don't think. I feel like I'm getting all my final thoughts before I
know,
even,
right?
It's just hard because there's a lot of things to consider with this album. But I still, spoilers, I still pretty much appreciate it for what it is. Because like I think for people who are really looking for this kind of vibe.
Oh, yeah. It's right up their alley.
It's perfect.
I'm just not in that same alley.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
One thing I was just gonna say, I really love the staggered rhythm in the middle, and then I also really like the sped up tempo at the end.
Yeah, I like it. Also switched to 3/4 too instead of the cut time, which is neat.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll do it for my thoughts on this track.
Same here.
Next up, we move on to Princess Andy, one of, if not their most popular songs, at least on Spotify.
And quite frankly, my favorite track on this album. This song is kind of a bop, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It's for those who don't know, I guess I could try and explain what each song is. This one is a bit more straightforward.
Yeah.
It's about a shark hunter who also kills and feeds his corpses to his own pet sharks.
And then he gets bitten by a shark, right? And the teeth get stuck in his head. And that's how he becomes Princess Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it looks like a crown.
Yeah.
I see what they did there.
He did kill a bunch of people, though.
That he did.
At one point, he first of all, this one very much has like the yeah, and that's another thing about this album. It has a really ritzy kind of vibe,
it's very
in parts,
bouncy.
which I do like. It feels like the town's talking about secret business.
Yeah.
But I love this one. It's a very like anecdotal, like terrifying story about this like psychopathic like shark hunter guy. Separating the tooth from gum.
If you will.
From sharks.
Yeah.
And people.
Yeah.
One of my favorite moments on this track is this part where there's like this like horn like frenzy, and it's supposed to illustrate this idea of sharks tearing away at a corpse in the water. It's the part
I had to pick up on that.
It's the part where it's like
like that's actually pretty sick.
Yeah. Because they start saying like a body floats in the water, strange and pink,
with those classic vocals.
Yeah, the vocals are kind of Tally Hall-esque. I feel like a little
very
bit.
Much so. Very performative, very exaggerated.
Which would make sense because this is sort of an internet core.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like
I said, Tumblr core, like on this first track.
Yeah.
But like not like main Tumblr core, like a specific niche of Tumblr
like
core.
Super aesthetically charged Tumblr core. Yeah, no,
steampunk Tumblr.
Flapjack Tumblr core.
Honestly, yeah. The Flapjack subreddit eats this album up.
Do you think there is one?
There has to be. There's a subreddit like everything.
That's true. I'm going to check that out later.
If there are any members of the Flapjack subreddit listening right now, leave a comment.
One of my good friends is a huge Flapjack fan.
It's a good show. To each their own.
To each their own, yeah. I've seen Cammy Island. I would disagree.
Okay.
But we're not talking about... It's not called Matt Hates Flapjack.
No, that's our sequel podcast.
We only talk about Flapjack.
We review it episode by episode.
Oh my god, yeah. Fuck that shit. Yeah, no, I like this track a lot. It's goofy. It's fun.
Yeah.
Reminds me of... like the part in the Sleepy Hollow Disney film where like the big buff dude is like talking about the Headless Horseman, like this song, like you ever hear the news about Princess Andy? Like, something about it is like really fun.
It's got like a little secretive kind of charm to it.
Yeah, and that's how I would describe this album. This album is fun.
Yeah, it has a fun tone to it.
Yeah.
I think this is definitely like an improvement from the opening track. I like it a lot more.
100%.
And the more that I listened to it, the more I kind of liked it. I definitely like the kind of bouncier feel, the overall darker tone with the more comedic twist on it is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like the trumpet a lot on like the left channel when it just kind of goes off shrilling is really cool. Here is especially where I noticed the mixing isn't really as crisp as it could be. And that kind of took me out of it a little bit. But as I said, like if that's what they're going for to like recreate like a street performance, then it's cool. But like it's just not really the best to listen to.
I will be honest with you. This track and the next track are the ones that like I would listen to like a lot before I actually like listen through the whole album.
I gotcha.
And I think a lot of your complaints about this track, I really say more about the next track.
That's fair.
The next track, I feel like, if you're done talking about this one, is called Sinking Ships. And I find the mixing on this one to be not very good.
Yeah.
Like it's, and what sucks about it is I love the instrumental on this one, like a lot, but as soon as like the verses stop and the chorus happens, there's a guy singing, but he just gets absolutely swallowed up in it.
Yeah.
And like this song is cool because this is like supposed to be like a sailor's warning about making sure that you have a clear enough conscience before you set out on the water. Because if your heart is heavy full of like, you know, sins and plights and shit, like you're
gonna get gobbled up.
Yeah, in the sea.
Like Coldplay.
Yeah.
Swallowed by the sea.
Swallowed.
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 Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Martin.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Now get the fuck out of here. Please. X and Y was too long.
That it was. So long we didn't review 2 tracks.
Yeah, sure. Shh, AJ, studio imagery and magic.
That's right. It was the
Russian radio interference.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry, I had a Mandela effect moment. Check out episode 11 to know what the fuck we're talking about.
Is that episode 11?
Yeah.
What are we at now?
46.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I know, Matt, we're old.
We got to someone's got to take us out.
That's true.
Yeah, no, this one is cool. I like how it's delightful in its hopelessness. And I really like the way that, it, again, ritzy in the chorus.
Gotta love that Ritz.
You got putting on the Ritz.
You're putting on the Ritz, dude.
Yeah. I will say, though, between the two that drew me into this album, this one does not compare to the
Princess
other
Andy.
One.
Yeah.
I just think Princess Andy is just catchier.
I think the song is also just kind of boring, in my opinion.
I can see that a little bit. The melody is not that engaging.
It really isn't.
Especially when you can't really hear the vocal melody underneath all the horns.
Exactly. I liked like the use of accordion on this track. Like that was like a highlight all throughout. Like it, and the verses are just like so slow to get through. Like the choruses are definitely when it starts to pick up a little more.
The sinking ships, all rusted brown.
Touching my lips in my hometown.
I hope my candy wife.
She's my candy life.
Inside a whale.
Dude, we got to do Matt Hates Flapjack.
Yeah.
All signs are pointing towards that being an absolute success.
Yeah, this is actually a roundabout concept album about Flapjack.
This is our backdoor pilot for Matt Hates Flapjack.
Our backdoor pilot. Jeez, who are we even fucking pitching this to? Just the general audience?
I don't know. I mean, well, every celebrity does listen to this podcast, so we're bound to be picked up by one network.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, I can see this being a little bit boring. It's in a very lumbering pace, and not even in like the cooler way they do it later.
Yeah, it's just kind of like stale.
Yeah, I do like I think it's a mandolin that I hear on this that's kind of being like strummed down.
Yeah. I don't remember that, but I'll take your word for it.
It is very hard to piece together all the instruments that are in it.
Yeah, because there's definitely a lot going on.
There is. Yeah. And it sounds like it's all in like one microphone.
Yeah.
Which is arguably one of my biggest complaints on this.
Definitely. But I got nothing else. Want to move on?
Yeah, absolutely.
Next up is Avi Colon, my favorite Pentatonics member, featuring Pack on this track. I think this one... I like it as a change of pace, especially with the female vocalist.
Oh my god, yeah, she's so much better than the other two.
Yeah, it's like so refreshing.
Yeah.
However, this track is way too long.
Yeah, and like again, kind of about nothing.
Yeah, it's just about like this dude that she's like into, or
and
like
she says over and over, "No one comes for free."
She does say that. Fellas, I tell you.
I do like the part where it's like the chorus is just her going like la la la.
It is like a very classic kind of crooner show tune style.
Yeah,
which it's different from like the rest, but it is like a nice change of pace, and it still kind of fits in with the overall vibe too.
Yeah. It's trying again to sort of talk about like it's this woman's like obsession with this guy.
Yeah,
maybe not obsession,
like interest.
Interest,
Yeah.
like pining, not upset. Obsession's a very strong word.
Yeah.
It's whatever. I think like basically the singer is kind of disappointed with the fact that this guy is just not a romantic guy at all.
Yeah.
And she's just kind of like, he's so handsome, but my God,
His personality sucks.
he's fucking boring.
Yeah.
Fucking Avi Colon. Once he left Pentatonics.
Yeah, it all went downhill. Yeah, when he set out to sea.
Are we about to just fucking reignite the fucking feud
The
between
lore.
us and the Pentatonics fandom?
Hey, if they're still listening.
Yeah, they might have forgotten about us.
That's true.
Yeah,
Probably for the best.
honestly, yeah.
Pentatonics fans, if you're out there, good for
Cool.
you.
Yeah.
I think, like as I said, this one goes on way too long. There's so much fluff they could cut out.
This
Like there's
one's-
these like 3 parts where the song could just end, but instead it keeps going.
This one's 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, I think it's the longest track on the album.
Is it?
It might be.
I thought there was another one that actually no, you're wrong. You're wrong. I'm thinking of the next album.
Okay.
I'm thinking of the next album.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, I would agree. While it is a nice change of pace, and I do like the more like I don't even know how
Like
to,
the style switch, I guess.
style switch where it feels like you're at like a
Like a cabaret.
cabaret, like
Yeah.
there's like a fancy like singer, and she's like,
La, la. Yeah, we go to the Muppets Cabaret.
dude, fucking sign me up. I will be there tomorrow. A Muppets cabaret,
That rules.
dude. Fucking please, Miss Piggy singing this song though.
I think she would kill it. Kermie Cologne.
Aren't you so happy that you tuned into this episode?
Dude, it's pretty banging so far. This is easily a top 10 of the year.
Yeah, no. Instrumentally, I will say like it's kind of the same as the one prior, just a little bit.
Yeah. I guess like a little more like gentle though, in terms of like there's not as much like harsh horns in there.
Yeah.
But I do like the use of the accordion on this track specifically.
Mm-hmm.
It's very nice, especially when it mimics the vocal melody.
Yeah.
I think that's a really cool part. And I like how there's a very interesting choice the drummer uses where during the chorus, instead of using a crash cymbal, he just uses just like one cymbal for an open hi-hat to accent, like on the downbeat. It's like, oh, that's cool. I don't see that often. Neat.
Yeah.
And that's all I got for Avi Colon.
Same here. So next track,
Yeah.
Madam Selma. I actually kind of like this one.
Yeah, it's a bit more of a jazz feel, which is cool. You know, the fellas are back for doing the vocals
Yes,
for the rest
they
of the
are.
album.
Yeah. And AJ loves that.
That is my favorite part, which is why it's my favorite track, because it sets up the greatness that we're in store for.
For the rest of the fucking album. Yeah, no, this track is, I think, from what I can tell, this track and Princess Andy are two of the most popular ones off this record.
Gotcha. I can see kind of why on this one. Like the overall like concept of it is like kind of based.
Yeah.
Where it's like this woman who either like lost her like lover or like my interpretation was like he's at war.
He is at war, and I believe like it's implied heavily that he died.
Yeah.
Because he never came home when the other soldiers
came
home.
back. And I do like that they kind of like paint that picture
With the
like halfway through.
fanfare and like the hooting and hollering.
Yeah, and the up tempo.
And it's supposed to be like a flashback, right?
I think so.
Yeah, that's what I got out of that. And yeah, no, I really like this one. I think this one really shows the anecdotal style of like songwriting well, which is to be appreciated.
Yeah, and I like the different perspectives, like in terms of like lyrics, because the verses are like people talking about the titular Madame Selma, and then like the choruses are Madame Selma herself.
Yeah.
And it's also cool because it's like two men like in the shoes of women like singing this.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you don't see that often. Neat.
You really don't.
Yeah. I think I do like conceptually the whole like the hooting and hollering part. I don't like how it's like mixed and how it sounds.
Yeah,
It's kind of obnoxious.
I was gonna say you can't really hear it.
Okay. I think it's just, like in terms of like conceptually and like how it's mixed, it's just kind of like, oh, I'm over it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's like toward the end, right?
Yeah, it's like
a
before the last like stanza.
chorus,
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, look at that.
No, I honestly like from what I heard, I thought like I didn't hear a lot of it.
Well,
Not
I don't mean like specifically like the hoon and holler itself, just like that whole section, like the way the instruments are like arranged.
And how they're
that,
so.
yeah.
I understand.
That's what I mean.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. We fixed it.
It's like Ace Attorney. We have to find the contradiction and like figure it out.
Objection.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this one kind of grew on me. I
Yeah.
wasn't really the biggest fan. I remember when I first listened to this, like years ago.
hmm
Um,
But on re-listens.
yeah, this one definitely grew on me a bit. Same with Avi Colon a little bit.
Yeah. Matt, Avi Colon.
Sorry,
Okay?
sorry.
Avi Colon is a different man.
New Garnier Avi Colon.
Avi Colon, let me tell you, he needs a personality to make up for that name.
Yeah, really,
Uh-huh.
really.
I think there are highs and lows on this one for me personally, but
Mm-hmm.
I think it's over like a fine track.
Yeah, one of the better ones.
Yeah. Next up, we have Fido Oro.
I would have said Fido Oro.
Fido Oro, if you will. Poll of the week, Fido or Fido?
I'm gonna go out on a limb here
Mm-hmm.
and say that this is the best track.
This is all instrumental, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, this one sounds like the Tetris theme.
It's you know what? I can kind of see that.
Yeah.
I would say that this one is probably the best track because at least with this one, you're not trying to like, I was gonna say squint your ears, but that is kind of what you do when you're trying to listen to like
The Blasting Company.
At
At least this album.
or just vocals that are buried underneath,
Yeah.
like generally where you can't hear them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like with this one, since it's just an instrumental, it just works so much better. Which
Yeah.
personally, that is another thing about this album that I feel like they could have done. I feel like they could have done a lot more just instrumental only.
Mm-hmm.
Like
There's only 2 of them on this track, right?
yeah,
On this
it's
album.
this one, and then it is track 9.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there could have been a lot more of
Yeah.
just like
Give like more instruments like their standout moment, because
Yeah.
track 9 is like an accordion focused one, which is cool.
yeah.
But like give stuff to like the tuba and shit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, this one is like a really fast like waltz.
Yeah,
almost.
it's a very much a very like left turn in terms of like feel.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. It reminds me of the scene in Avatar: The Last Airbender where Aang and Katara are dancing at this Fire Nation party
Mm-hmm.
and like they're dazzling everybody with their dance moves.
Yeah,
That's what it reminds me of.
nice. I've also never seen Avatar.
Oh my gosh. Well, spoilers. I
They
apologize.
dance? What the fuck? No way.
Yeah, yeah. I like how the band will stop on beats 1 and or will stop on beat 3
hmm
in the one section of the song. And there's
Yeah.
like the silence for like
The
the second.
dropout.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I also think like here's where I notice in the mixing, you kind of like hear the imperfections of the musicians themselves. Like it is very obvious, like they're just like not the tightest as like performers,
Mhm.
which definitely adds on to the overall feel. Like everyone's like a little like the slightest bit off with each other, which it adds to the charm overall. So it's like, oh, it's still like sticking true to that whole like motif of like being from that era and like
Yeah.
in that experience. And the accordion really kind of goes off on this track, and I like the key change during the trumpet solo, and that's it.
It's like I like this one because I like when they kind of do the more like frenzy stuff.
Yeah, when they just kind of go off.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I do like it. I feel like it's better than their slower stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
In my
Way more
opinion.
engaging too.
Yeah.
hmm
The next track is called Simon Was.
Uh huh.
This one has like
It's like a ragtime feel.
it reminds me of like Bodsworth Rugglesby a little bit
from Klaatu,
from 347.
Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah,
Uh huh.
that one.
That one. Check out that episode.
That was a good one.
Yeah,
That was
with
a good one.
Will Wood.
Let me know if you want me to bring more Will Wood for AJ to listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please do.
There's a great lineup coming the next year of the Yellow River Boys.
Will Wood.
That's actually going to be
Melanie Martinez.
that's actually going to be a whole episode. We're going to review 3 albums.
yeah,
We're gonna
I don't get to
review-
choose any of them.
No, I chose all of them. And we're just going to have AJ review all of those albums.
Yeah, then they're each an hour each.
So just leave us a note in the comments if you want us to
Have suggestions.
review Saint Urinal Station the next episode.
Thanks, guys. This would be really cool. Anyway, Simon was. He surely was.
He surely was.
I do like the overall feel change on this one. How it has the ragtime piano.
Yeah.
The very like bouncy, almost like old animation style of like music. The boom, dum, 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 dum. if you will.
Also, the piano being more there,
Yeah.
which is very nice.
that is
it is
that
very,
nice.
very nice.
Mhm. I like how like prominent it is on this track.
I think this one, even though the mixing was not the best like so far,
Mhm.
this one is where I noticed the mixing is probably at its worst
Okay. Yeah.
because I feel like the way the piano is just so it's so loud which I like it being prominent as a piano guy.
But you wanted to fit too.
I want it to fit too, and it also like I can almost hear like the room tone of the piano a little bit, which again, if you're liking it aesthetically, that's great, but also
from like a professional standpoint,
it's yeah.
I think the horns add like a nice layer of variety in terms of the choruses because it is very like piano heavy overall.
Yeah.
So when they come in, it kind of like adds some like so it keeps like the energy up a little bit, and I guess like the theme or like the concept of the song is interesting.
It's about a guy who's like Simon was an upstanding gent, and then like what he
leaves living with his mom because she sucks.
Yeah.
And then he starts living with the narrator of the song. And then they part ways at the end, and he's sad about it. And that was Simon.
He's the oldest man who ever gets. It really reminded me of Sir Bodsworth Rugglesby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so in overall terms of feel. Just less bone on here. Less trombone.
Just a little bit less bone.
Mm-hmm. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, honestly, me too. I gotta be honest with you, AJ. I don't like this track at all. This next one.
Yeah, this one's fucking weird.
I'd never listened to the lyrics of this one before, but the song is called "Love for a Writer, Producer, Director, and Star." And I thought, oh, is it gonna be like a made up character that they talk about? Like, oh, maybe it's like about
this
a playwright?
1900s early like concept album.
No, they decide to talk about an actor that I personally don't like very much. So it's just
Batman and Robin star George Clooney.
All right. I'm going to take a little bit of a side tangent here.
Okay.
I don't like George Clooney.
Okay. Why is that?
So there are certain people that I do not like. And those people
are me and Tom.
Yeah.
And the Flapjack community.
Yeah, exactly. No, honestly, thank you for diffusing that because that sounded very bad before. But I promise this is a lot more lighthearted and like innocent than than being racist. No, there are certain types of people whose like face, it looks like they're smiling when they're not. And then I just can't tell. And George Clooney is one of those people for me.
Okay.
And it pisses me off.
I see.
Because I'm just like, dude, like, what emotion are you conveying here?
Pick a lane, dude.
Like, oh God, there's one part in like Spy Kids 3 where he's like, I'm so disappointed in you, but he has like a smile on his face.
Yeah, he's the mayor in that episode, or like the head
president.
Honcho, the president.
He's
That's
the
right.
President of the United States.
Yeah, plot twist before it's revealed that it's actually Sylvester Stallone.
It's true.
Yeah, the Toy Man.
The Toy Man. Congratulations.
Oh, Spy Kids 3. What a classic.
Game over.
Yeah, amen.
Game over.
And game over for this song because it kind of sucks.
Yeah, the song blows. I did not really care for it that much. When I heard George Clooney, I was like,
what the fuck?
Like,
it just takes you out of it.
A little bit,
yeah.
Is this the one where there's also, I mean, I don't know if it's a premature fuck, if it's like...
I don't. They definitely have one in this album. I don't remember if it's this track or like Two Down.
It might be Two Down.
Yeah.
It is Two Down.
Yeah.
It is Two Down. I remember because I remember what the Two Down song is about.
Yeah.
But anyway.
There we go.
Yeah, no. I don't really care for this track because one, it just sounds like the previous tracks, but way less enjoyable.
Definitely.
And then also George Clooney was mentioned, which I did not care for.
And like the narration, the narrator's like obsession with it is just kind of uncomfortable, especially during the part where like all the instruments drop out and like it's just the isolated vocals going and cute.
Yeah, he does refer to him as cute a lot.
It's so weird. And he calls him like rough. He's like, I like it when you get rough. It's really weird.
You want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
That's Michael
You're
Keaton.
so cute.
That's my favorite fucking Batman line. You're so cute. You want to get nuts?
I mean, that's pretty much the Joker's MO.
Yeah. You're so cute. You want to get nuts. We've been talking about Batman a lot on this podcast this season.
Yeah, it's because the Penguin's still fresh in our minds.
That's
good show. Finale was crazy.
I didn't watch any of it yet.
I think you'll enjoy it. That's a podcast for another time.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
This song, it was not my favorite. It's just odd. There's so much odd imagery with this song.
Yeah,
I completely forgot about this song when I picked this album. Like I remember the ending. Like after the first 5 tracks, I remember like from when I first listened to it, like the ending and the penultimate one.
Yeah,
I did not remember this track like at all.
Fair enough.
Maybe I was just so like in love with like the music.
Princess and
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. George Clooney. George.
He'll get real rough. Oh, he's so cute.
I used to know an actor that I don't know if he's smiling or not, and he's in Spy Kids 3.
Actually, since you mentioned that, I think going back to Avi Colon, a lot of like the lyrics in this album, they shove a lot in like one verse. Like they don't really know when to kind of like reel it back in.
They got the Matchbox 20 syndrome.
They got the Matchbox 20 syndrome.
Or the Sum 41 syndrome.
Yeah, for those in
as
the
I call-
know.
Yeah, 3 a.m. by Sum 41.
My favorite song. Featuring Rob Thomas.
They're the same band to me.
Yeah, I mean, if you have two
And
Matchbox 20s and then add one, the sum is 41.
And shout out to Fataday, who likes both those bands. I'm going to keep referring to it as like the wrong band singing the wrong song just to annoy you.
Matchbox 41.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's their tour name.
Yeah.
That's their super group. It's
Oh
their
my
super
God.
group, Matchbox 41.
What a meeting of the minds. Yeah, anyway, this song really revels in itself, and it's like kind of pretentious, and I don't like it.
It was cute, but kind of rough, you know?
Fellas. I tell you.
You know what I mean? Like,
Next up is Shadi, which is the last instrumental track.
yes.
This one is primarily accordion focused, which is neat. Listening to this, like just as like a passive listen to refresh myself with the tracks, was a nightmare. I was typing some stuff just like on my computer, and this gave me a headache.
This has like the same energy as like the Rest aria by the
Oh, yeah,
Residents.
dude.
You know what I mean?
Just
like
unpleasant.
there's like yeah, you know, like honestly. Yeah, no, this track, I think it's every word choice that I'm trying to say in my head
You
is
try
just
to
not
tiptoe as much as possible.
It's just not right. Like I keep thinking like, oh well, I think it's fun. And I'm like, no.
And that's not fun.
But then it's also like not exactly like the worst thing I've ever heard
Yeah.
either. Like
technically, it's very well done.
yeah, but I feel like given the fact that again the kind of room Tommy,
yeah,
like
it's the sound that is like emanating from this track.
yeah, it just gets to be a little bit a little much.
Yeah, it's a little heavy.
It's a nice come down after the last one, I will say.
Yeah,
but
it's not a
yeah.
highlight to go back to. I think it's cool like how the two accordions are like working in tandem. But it sounds like disjointed at points, which I think kind of adds on to like the feeling that I get that I don't like listening to it.
Really like staggering and like drunk. Yeah.
Very much. But yeah, I really got not much else to say. It's just kind of not great in my opinion.
Honestly, like getting to this portion of the album is kind of an accomplishment in itself.
Yeah, it like this album definitely feels longer than it is, and like I mean, 48 minutes, standard album length, but like some of these tracks really fucking drag, unfortunately.
No, I could definitely agree with that with this recent re-listen. This next track, Magdalena Bay, I think is what it's called.
God, I wish.
They're sort of like this is regarded as like the Coldplay of the music scene. I love how I said that as if Coldplay isn't in the music scene.
Yeah, this underground band
Yeah.
called Coldplay.
Yeah, you know.
Don't know if you heard of them.
Yeah, really.
They're like the Maroon 5.
For a little for a little bit of background, I could tell them the story.
Yeah, go for it.
Earlier today, we are actually with beloved
Family album guest.
James McDonald,
Yeah.
who brought us Daniel Caesar and
Mac DeMarco.
Mac DeMarco. We got lunch with him earlier at time of recording,
Mm-hmm.
and he looked at AJ's
Iconic Magdalena Bay hoodie.
and went, "Is that a Coldplay hoodie?"
Yeah.
And I looked up and we started laughing, and I just kind of was like, I mean, yeah, they're kind of like the same
pretty much the
band.
same thing.
They're pretty much the same band. And AJ just went, you can just shut the fuck up. It was so funny.
You had to be there.
Real talk. This track is called Maledetta Orangina.
Orangina. Yeah. I don't know what that means.
I also don't really like this track either.
Yeah, I think by this point at the album, like I'm just over it.
Yeah, over it. Yeah.
Yes.
No, I would agree. I remember this is where the premature fuck happens.
Yeah, definitely. I like the use that they have like traditional like crash cymbals in there. Like that's kind of cool. Like the different, more kind of carnival-esque sound is a little different.
Mhm.
So like kind of changes things up, or at least like, it's like a different flavor of what we've been getting. And I think it's like well constructed, and it
Yeah.
sounds like they're having a lot of fun like in the studio just like constructing these songs. But it just doesn't really give me any enjoyment. And I like the slow down towards the end. Like that's a cool moment as a penultimate track.
Conceptually, it's a really weird song
Yeah, what's it about?
topic. From what I gathered, it was like, oh, are you having trouble sleeping and like feeling at ease? Well, if you drink this that we're selling, it'll fix you right the fuck up. You know,
see.
like
That's like analog horror.
yeah, and super analog horror.
Ancient analog horror.
Ancient analog
dude,
horror.
an analog horror. That's just like an old timey radio show. That's kind of cool.
That is kind of cool.
Don't steal that. That's ours.
Yeah, this is our backdoor.
Shut up.
This is our backdoor pilot.
Yeah, the Squimblow files.
Yeah, AJ and I are getting super fucking bored of doing this. We're gonna start another project. Oh my god. Yeah, no, this is a weird track. I feel like one of the other things, now that I'm thinking about it with this record, I wish they would have committed a bit more thematically to the time period that they're emulating musically.
Okay.
Because like I feel like for the most part in the very beginning you're like,
it's
like,
right there.
You got like
the first 3 tracks.
It sounds like an old-timey like record.
Yeah.
And I feel like if they just leaned into that a little bit more, it would have been just a bit better. But of course, it's like quirky, like internet, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Tumblr core. So it kind of goes in different directions.
Which I respect because you have this really old sort of instrument setup and like recording style it sounds.
You're going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and try to like, you know, troll some of your audience.
Spice things up a little bit.
Like I get it and I respect it for that, but I feel like as an album listen, it really did take me out of it to hear George Clooney heard on this record.
Yeah.
I love how we're not even talking about the actual song itself.
All right, maybe we should save that for our final thoughts.
Yeah,
then.
maybe.
I kind of said my piece with this track. I think I can see it working as a penultimate track. I just don't care for it listening to it.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's the last big thing you got to worry about,
Yeah.
like in terms of its energy.
And I think that does lead into the final track pretty well because it is such a nice change of pace. Very refreshing.
Yeah, because it's like it's called Where We're Gonna Leave It.
Yeah, Where We Gonna Leave It specifically.
Where We Gonna Leave It.
Yeah.
And this is a nice track because it's this guy on a banjo. And the two guys, the two fellas,
my 2 lovely uncles,
Frankie Valli and the 2 fellas, my 2 lovely uncles. Yeah, the one who sings "Sinking Ships" is Uncle One, and then Princess Andy is Uncle Fungus.
Absolutely.
Oh my god, yeah, I'd believe that.
He's pretty Uncle Fungus coded.
Uncle Fungus core. Fungus,
Mr. Fungal.
Oh, actually, I have some stuff to say about Mr. Bungle today.
Oh shit!
But we'll get to that later.
We'll save it for later.
That's where we're gonna leave it. Actually, oddly enough.
Final thought. Nah. I think it's a nice closer. It's so refreshing just having this like very much stripped back, just two fellas on a banjo, just talking, just singing to each other.
You know what this reminds me of?
What's that?
Do you remember on Cracked Rear View where like at the very end
Motherless Child?
Yeah. This song reminds me of that. It's like this album's Motherless Child.
If only this album was a little tangled up in blue.
Yeah.
Because
really.
I don't really want to be with it.
Someone should have held my hand on this album.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. But I mean, the words are nice. It's like this sort of hymn-like poem sort of writing of lyrics, which is so different than like anything you've heard.
It's a lot more intimate, a lot more like just like very personable.
And the 2 fellas actually sound kind of good here.
Yeah, in comparison. That's all I got.
I do like how it hard cuts at the end.
Oh yeah.
Where you could just tell,
like,
over. Oh yeah, it just feels like it was recorded on like a phone.
Yeah, they just stop record.
But I respect it.
Yeah, this was also recorded on 3DS, right?
Yeah. This is the twin fantasy
of 1900s sailor music.
I feel like every single one of our jokes lately has just been
this
like,
is the blank of blank.
This is the blank of blank. That could be merch. We should really start thinking about making merch. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Question of the week: would you buy merch? If so, what ideas would you want?
Yeah.
White Men on the Verge of Rapping has been a popular subject.
Pretty mid-leaning ass. That's a new one.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
If you listen to Tom's review of Random Access Memories.
That came out 2 weeks ago.
It did. Shall we get into our final thoughts, AJ?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of ready to discuss.
Would you like to go first?
Sure. since it's your album. I will say, overall, not the biggest fan of a history of
Public
relations
relations.
dilemma. I think
Dilemmae.
Dilemmae. That's right.
It's
1900s.
the plural. It's the plural.
Oh, like Renaissances.
Yeah. What a great callback to earlier this season.
Thanks, dude.
Oh, man.
Yeah, this album just is not my thing. I think it definitely speaks to a specific niche of people, and I'm very happy they have that. I'm just not a part of it. From a conceptual standpoint, like I commend them for like swinging for the fences on their first attempt. Just kind of like doing this huge concept of like this old-timey sound with all these horn instruments and just like trying to record that for like a first attempt at a project is really cool. It's very admirable. I think there are highs and lows in how that's executed, especially in the mixing. Unfortunately, that's a big issue all throughout.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it does sound like, I don't want to say amateur, but just like not professional, I guess is a better word for it. The two fellas as vocalists.
Are we just going to keep referring to them as the two fellas?
I'm just not, I just don't really care for their vocal styling. I feel like they're just not quite. Did they sing on the Over the Garden Wall soundtrack?
No. I mean, if they do, they definitely improved.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure all the singing done in Over the Garden Wall is like either the characters themselves or like, I think there's like a narrator, like
someone
in the
else.
very, very beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just their whole vocals kind of take me out of points, especially when they try to hit high notes. They just can't really do it well when they try to harmonize. So that's not great. Some of these songs are just really bloated. Like a lot can be kind of dialed back to just kind of make this album a lot more streamlined and a lot more digestible. And I think conceptually some of these songs are very hit or miss. Like Princess Andy is a fun song, and I like what it's based around. But for a director, producer, and star, like that song
rips.
Yeah.
It fucking
best
rips.
song on the album.
Best song ever, honestly.
Nah, it just does not belong on this album whatsoever.
Crimson King who, you know, just
move over to Pimp a Butterfly.
No, I know what you mean though.
Yeah.
I feel like you're actually having a lot of similar thoughts as me currently.
I think, and it's just really not my thing. I think there are definitely strong points. Like all the musicians are very talented. I just feel like they kind of go overboard at points. They don't really know like when to reel it in. So I'm gonna give this like a C minus. Like
honestly, that's better than I expected.
Yeah,
I got a little
think
worried
because there's nothing like inherently bad that like I overall hate about it. It's just like it's technically well made. It's just not personally my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it escapes the D tier, C minus, I'll say.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Not everything can escape the D tier.
That's true. Like
the Animals
Sleep
Christmas.
Token. Oh yeah, dude.
We're actually going to re-review the Animals Christmas.
Yeah, we actually had a change of heart. We've been converted.
It was the white bird, you know?
We were reborn.
I mean, I guess it would have been this time like last year.
That's true. Yeah, it is December.
Yeah.
Wow, look at the change of album choices.
Oh, shit, AJ, we got to make sure that we acknowledge that it's Christmas. Put in some like bells.
Oh, yeah, and there's the classic Christmas turtle doves.
Ew, that's what they sound like? That's disgusting. Ew. Oh my god.
Oh, what? Dude, the maids of milking are here. Oh.
Let's keep going. I'll get to my final thoughts before yeah. I don't want the pipers piping to start showing up, if you know what I mean. So in terms of my final thoughts, I think we kind of have some similar opinions. I will be very upfront with you. I really wanted to like this album more because I really like Sinking Ships and I really like Princess Andy. And while I do think some songs definitely are now like on my radar and that I can appreciate a little bit more, I will say as an album listen, it definitely, especially considering the other album is like pretty similar in like its runtime.
Yeah.
This one did feel a bit long and I felt like the pacing was very, very stretched out to the point where it was like, okay, we get the point, Mr. Colon.
Mr. Fellows.
Avi Colon. Capelone. Yeah, no, the mixing very much takes me out of it a lot. Like, I think Princess Andy is probably like, if you're going to be seeking out this album, I would say Princess Andy is going to be like your high point.
Yeah.
Maybe like Simon Was.
And Madame Selma.
Madame Selma.
Yeah.
And then Fido Oro, I would say probably. Those are like the high points like on this record. Sinking Ships, I don't know. I really like the instrumental on that one a lot, but I could definitely see if that's not someone's cup of tea because of the vocals.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this you can very much tell it was like a first attempt, and I commend them for it because it is incredibly consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the fact that they were able to even get this far with the amount of instruments that they had and probably with limited recording materials and studio setup materials, I can respect them for that.
Yeah.
But I think this is a bit of a lumbering album listen. Like I definitely will not be seeking this out to listen all the way through very often, if at all.
Yeah.
Like Princess Andy, I listen to Princess Andy a lot. Like even before like I even thought to bring this album on, like I just like the track.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's just a fucking catchy ass song. And it just feels like a dark sea shanty, which I kind of wish they leaned into more of the sea stuff.
Yeah, you kind of lose that after like a certain point.
And I really wish that they kind of leaned more into like the concepts that could be like if they were going to try and like make it sound like old like fables that you would hear around the time of this music existing. Yeah. I feel like they would have leaned into that more. Or if they were going to go with a modern twist, I wish they kind of leaned into that more and made a thing out of that.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it could have gone well if they just committed to either direction and they kind of just tried to find like a happy middle. And sadly, that balance was not struck very well.
Nah.
So I'm going to give this a C+.
Okay.
I don't really see myself like myself's. Yeah,
me, myself, and
yeah, my two fellas that are inside of me. Oh, wait a sec. Oh shit! Sound the alarm. Call the police. Actually, that's
that's absurd.
I need to be put away. No, I think I don't see this really on par with like. I mean, if I'm talking about like before this, the lowest thing that I've rated. I wouldn't really say that like Jeremy Shada. I would say that this is probably below my enjoyment of what I enjoy of what I listened to Jeremy Shada.
Yeah, I would agree.
You know what I mean? Like, because at least that had some like
variety.
More polished and more variety, and like his lyrics were on the nose, but at least I could hear his.
Yeah,
you know
and
what
it's
I
like
mean?
it's nowhere near the greats of Die Lit, of course, by Playboi Carti.
God, I wish I could listen to that album all of the time.
For the first time.
Every time. Yeah, no. I mean, I respect it a lot, and I really wanted to like it and really root for it because I love Princess Andy. It's a great song. It's a very fun song. But I feel like it kind of really undermined my expectations a little bit.
Kind of missed the boat.
Just a little bit.
Just like Andy.
Yeah.
When he fell into that shark.
Yeah, what's the line? It's like, oh fuck, what is it? He goes, I grab his outstretched hand, princess hand. But yeah, I'm saying like C+, and then if I'm gonna give it a number, I'm somewhere between like 5 and like 4.5. It's like somewhere in there,
that range.
But
like
I'm
4.7,
maybe like leaning more toward the middle because I think like. I can't imagine this is going to be the album that I dislike the most this year.
We got to have some shit come on here.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
There's going to be some fucking shit that either you bring, I bring, or a guest brings, or Tom by some twist of fate. Actually, I already know what my fucking F tier album is going to be.
Oh.
That's going to be the fucking last guest episode of the season.
That's right.
I already fucking know.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't recorded that yet.
But we know which albums we're recording.
Let me fucking tell you, I guarantee it's going to be an F tier.
I can agree with that one
because I've listened to it before, and
spoilers. I guess what's coming. What do you think of the album is? It's not coming out till fucking May, but take your best guesses what it could be.
Yeah, that actually be a really fun idea.
Yeah.
Why didn't we think of that earlier?
I don't know. Because we're stupid.
God damn it, Kyle. Why didn't you? Oh.
Yeah. I mean, he made it for your award ceremony on Maria's episode, but It's like a Pirates of the Caribbean rule. Like you can only come back one day every 10 years.
Yeah. Otherwise, you go to the dandruff dimension.
Well, Matt, as you know, we always have 2 albums on the show.
Yes, we do.
So shall we segue into our next album?
Yes, I actually have a little bit of Matt history about this album.
Mystery? Mystery?
Yeah. Mystery. Give me a mystery.
Where's the coin slot?
We'll do that again. That was terrible. So... Bundles by Soft Machine was listened to by me on at time of recording.
No, please continue. This is great.
At time of recording, it was listened to by me a couple weeks ago and was critically received well by me. In case anybody was wondering.
Man, Matt's3 is awesome.
It was listened to on Matt's3. That's such a stupid bit. It was listened to through Sennheiser headphones, and I believe was
what the critics me have to say
on my couch in my living room.
The personnel included me,
my dad who kept making noise as I kept trying to listen to the album. Yeah, it was great. That's my Matt history.
Thank you for the Matt3. That was really good. I like that.
I thought of that in the car on the way here. Just fucking Matt history of when I listened to it. Nobody fucking cares. But I can use this as a segue to sort of say I enjoyed this.
Nice.
I think it was a very fun listen.
Yeah.
I have a lot of thoughts. But overall, I can't say it was a bad experience to listen to this record.
Well, that makes me happy to hear. Before we dive into our more deep thoughts, shall we do a little bit of Soft Machine history?
Some actual history? Yeah, absolutely.
As good as the Matt3 was. Bundles by Soft Machine was released March 1975 on Harvest Records, the same label as Pink Floyd, and it is the 8th studio album released by progressive/jazz rock band Soft Machine. Bundles saw the band lean more into guitar-focused riffs and melodies, which was a departure from their older Canterbury-influenced sound. It was also the last album to feature Mike Ratledge on keys, leaving the band with no original members after its release. And I think this album is really fucking good, too.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You said it was released in 1975?
Yeah.
So why is it 2010 on Spotify?
I don't know. Maybe that's like a publishing thing.
Yeah, like when Spotify actually got the access to. Well, that's dumb.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I don't fucking care about that. Yeah, what? That's like the same
as Jeremy Shada.
No, that's like the same relevance as the Matt history. Yeah, when we were able to let you stream this, I want to let you guys know.
You remember that, okay?
Yeah, you're gonna fucking thank me later.
No, but Soft Machine's been around since like the late 60s.
Okay.
That's like when they got their start.
I was so confused when I looked at it and it said 2010. I was like, really?
Nah. Very much 70s. And the actual date itself of when it was like released is kind of like up for debate. I don't really know why, but there's not like a concrete answer.
Schrodinger's release.
Schrodinger's bundles. But I enjoy this. I think Soft Machine is a cool band overall. It's usually this album or third, which is like the one that people talk about the most. I like this one a little bit better, and I feel like it doesn't get as much credit, or at least as much discussion, at least in terms of the mainstream, and a little bit in like the prog scene too. Yeah, it gets a little overshadowed. But I really like this album, so shall we just hop right in?
Absolutely. So
we start off with the first part of a 5-part medley, Hazard Profile Part 1. I love the riff on this song. It's very catchy, and it's built up super well in the intro with like that low droning and the snare roll before it just comes right in with that jazz riff. It fucking rips.
The intro is so cool because you have like these death knell bells in the beginning.
The chimes.
And then once those drums get going, they fucking start cutting up, man.
The drummer on this album is fucking incredible. He flies all over the kit. It's like every like 1 or 2 bars is like a fill. It's insane.
There was when AJ Fataday, this other dude, and I were in a jam band. AJ used to do this bit where he would like start like going fucking ape shit and using the cowbell and shit like in between when we'd be rehearsing stuff, and like it sounded like that, but like unironic at parts. And I was like, wow, that's cool.
That's what it sounds like when it's good.
It didn't sound bad when you did it.
Oh, thanks, man.
I promise.
I appreciate it.
Bundles of joy. I love it.
Just look what he's playing.
Look at what he's playing. We cannot keep quoting this.
No.
Anyway.
The drummer's name is John Marshall. Shout out to him because he's a fucking monster all over this album, especially on this track. Yeah. No, he's fantastic.
I would totally agree.
And other highlight, as I mentioned, this is a very guitar-focused album, which was a departure from their previous sound. Alan Holdsworth, holy shit. These melodies and solos are fucking crazy.
On the guitar?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
They fucking rule.
Dude, what is the one where he absolutely fucking rips? it's later down the line.
Yeah.
But oh my god, I was just absolutely I was in a trance
Yeah,
at
right?
one point. I thought I went to Baltimore from where I was.
Yeah.
We had a bit of a
A
back in
good
London.
wish, yeah.
A fucking back in London,
London moment.
situation. Listen to that episode too.
That's a good one.
With Elizabeth Cavalier and Andrew Cavalier.
Yeah, a lot of fun. That was actually our guest episode for last December.
Wow. I'm so happy we could just reference
I know,
our
our
material.
old lore. We've gotten to that point.
Yeah, we really have. We signed a deal with Executive.
Yeah, and we're allowed to like be big shots now.
It's true.
Uh-huh.
It's true.
We know you're listening, Stamos.
Yeah, that guitar riff is nasty as fuck.
Yeah.
I love how the bass has like perfect synchronicity with the riff on the guitar. And like
it just like adds like onto it, like emphasizes it, doesn't like take away or distract.
with the doubled octave.
Yeah,
I really
man.
enjoy that.
It's awesome.
I love the way like I don't know if this was like a synth or like real strings, but there are strings that like stretch it out at one point, like midway through the song. They like hold out the I think it's like a synth or something.
I'll have to double check, but yeah.
But,
there's
like,
definitely synths on this track.
There's like a synth that like it like holds it out as this band is just absolutely ripping. And I just at that point I was like, oh man, this is it.
We're
right
in.
here.
We're in.
We're in.
I love the horns all across this album as well, especially on this track. As they, I like how they work in tandem with the guitar too, as they hold down the main melody, as the guitar riff is like more prominent or doing like a solo to kind of like add texture on top of that. And I like how the keys also kind of fill that same role as well.
So they are real horns.
There are real horns, yeah.
Okay, cool.
I think it's clarinet, saxophone, or oboe.
I knew the oboe because the oboe.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oboe. You know what I mean? God.
I mean, you're right about that, dude.
Oh man. What was it? There are these parts where like they start doing like the syncopated like hits.
The accent. Oh my
And
god.
I'm like, oh my god.
That part fucking rules.
It's amazing. I love when the organ comes in toward the end.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
that shit rules.
Yeah.
I love like the trilling kind of ascending solo that happens at one point, like where the guitars just like soar. I think like one can make an argument that is like too long, but I don't give a fuck.
What this
song?
I think it's perfect.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
fantastic.
honestly, like it uses every bit of the minute well.
Yeah.
I personally think
It like it builds, expands, and then it like transitions into like the next. Well, not very well.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's okay. But it has like
Why did
its
my
own
voice get
keys.
so high there?
It's all right.
It's all right.
So
Oh man.
But nah, you're right. It does definitely use every minute to its advantage, and it just creates just a really nice full piece.
Yeah,
That's a very strong start to like a 5-part medley.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil my like opinion of the next 4 parts, but I found that this 5-part like medley suite thing kept my attention.
Oh yeah.
Like very well. So I was very impressed by that.
Yeah. Well, I guess with that, shall we move on to the next one?
I would say after the first song, this is my second favorite. As a piano guy,
That's valid.
I really like this ballad a lot. It's Hazard Profile Part 2.
Toccatina.
Is it hard C or soft C?
Toccatina. Toccatina. Toccatina.
That jizz music.
Oh yeah, some classic jizz.
God, we should review some jizz.
I'm done.
I see no issue with what I just said. Oh my gosh, I really like this piano ballad.
Yeah, it's very nice. I like how it's a change up from the guitar led melody from the first track, and lets the pianos do its thing, ease you into the rest of the suite, and it's really like pleasant to listen to.
It is.
Yeah,
it reminds me of like the courtyard theme from like Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Oh, the promenade.
Yeah,
yeah.
It reminds me of like that sort of come down like theme. I know,
definitely.
I know this theme isn't really used like it's sort of a play on like the previous theme, but like I do like the way that it kind of felt like that similar.
Yeah, like a kind of continuation. Definitely.
It rocked my nuts, AJ.
It did rock my nuts. I think this track has a 12-string guitar on here.
There was a guitar that shows up and it's really ethereal sounding.
It's so nice.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So, do they only have one keys player at this time?
Yes.
And he was on his way out.
Yeah, it was his last album with Soft Machine.
So the Rhodes and the regular piano,
I think
and the organ
is all him.
That's all him.
I believe so.
God, that's incredible because like one of the biggest things I was going to say that I admire about this group from what I've listened to on this record is that I really enjoy the fact that there's like no weak link members.
Oh, absolutely.
And you can hear that.
Yeah, they're all pulling their weight.
Like, oh my gosh. I just really like the way he does his like bass line phrasing in the left hand, especially. Like it's very nice.
Yeah.
It just feels like it's really like lifting up what he's playing in the right hand as he like ascends and like
on the
notes.
keys. Yeah,
I really appreciated that a lot.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and then the guitar once it comes in, it just adds on to
so
it. Much.
It's perfect.
It's perfect, honestly.
Yeah, and it's a really nice lead up into the next part of the suite. Has a profile part 3, which is basically like an interlude kind of.
Yeah.
To build up into the next part, and it's fine. It does its job pretty well.
It's pretty short.
Yeah, it's like 30 seconds. It's basically kind of like expanding on part 2 a little more, and then like making it like build up to like a boiling point to explode into part 4.
Oh my god, yeah.
And Hazard Profile part 4 fucking rips,
dude. It's like Hendrix-esque.
Yeah,
like, I feel like
it's like heavy funk. It's awesome,
dude. When I heard the guitar, the first thing I wrote was, "Oh, she's dirty."
Yeah, that shit was nasty.
Like holy shit.
It's diabolical, dude. I love it.
It really fucking is.
Yeah.
This one's also pretty short because this one's like a minute.
Like a minute, like 20 something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But oh my god.
Every fucking second of the song is like sexy as hell. I love it.
It really was. Yeah, no, I mean that's all I really have to say. It's just a great like
it's a good little funk jam that leads into the next part very well. I love how like the 16th note hi-hats like are just like so emphasized and how the guitar and bass just groove over each other. It's very, very well done. And it leads perfectly into the last part of the medley, Hazard Profile Part 5. And I think the song is in 7/8.
I said 7/4.
Ah.
Oh my, I was just about to ask you, what is the meter on this?
I think it's 7/8 because I was getting like a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2-3 feel.
I'm gonna show AJ. I had 7/4 written down because I was counting.
He did have 7/4.
Yeah.
He was not lying.
I was counting. I was like, fuck, what meter is this?
It's definitely 7 something.
Yeah, I was counting 7, but I could see it being 7/8 because it's really like.
Yeah. Did you like that?
I did.
I turned to a drum.
It sounded like the recording.
It's on the spot.
I wasn't even going there. Oh my gosh, dude. The synth solo on this is probably some of the best finger work I've ever listened to. Are you laughing at finger work?
No.
All right, good. I just want to make sure.
Yeah. Why would I do that? It's so mature.
We gotta be mature here on the family album.
Only the most pristine opinions. I do like how this, like the melody is more primarily synth focused on this track as opposed to the first part being guitar.
Yeah.
It's like a very nice kind of change of pace, and I think it's like a cool bookend in a way almost, where they kind of like they flip roles. Yeah. It's cool.
Dude, the cymbals on this go absolutely fucking ballistic in the middle of the track.
It's crazy.
I love the way it just accentuates the tempo so much.
Gotta love your bell of the ride, my man.
The amount of skill to pull something like this off alone is honestly like fucking unparalleled.
Dude, prog musicians are like a different species. It's crazy.
Oh my god, like fucking beasts of instrumentalists.
Yeah, like the amount of like talent and like dedication, just like hard work is commendable as fuck, and it always like culminates in such a great project.
They do kind of like a polyrhythm thing at the end, and what I love about polyrhythms is that you can bob your when you have polyrhythms, you can choose which beats to bob your head to.
Yeah,
like there was sort of like a bouncy like sort of feel.
Oh, I fucking love that ending.
Or you could just do the straight like beat that's like with it,
keeping
and
it down.
Like, I'm like, god damn,
it's so good, dude. And that ending is such like a great finale for this whole medley. It's so good. I love it so much.
It's fantastic. Yeah, no, I adored this suite. It was quite good. It's a very strong first 5 tracks.
Definitely. And I really like how this track specifically is like Ratledge's kind of chance to shine for the key work. I like that he gets a lot of moments on here since this is his last album.
Yeah.
And like here is like kind of like one of his biggest moments, which is really cool.
The keyboardist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, this was a fucking stellar 5-part opener.
Yeah, man. I definitely agree. I love how like the keys and the horns are kind of playing the same part on this track too, where they're really just kind of like working in tandem. Like everything's just like working like clockwork. It's great. And of course, John Marshall's drumming, fantastic all the way through.
Oh my god, yeah. No, I would wholeheartedly agree.
Well, that was the Hazard Profile Suite. And it's now time to move on to the rest of the album, which still keeps up in my opinion.
Oh yeah, no, I would say so.
And we cool things down with a little track called Gone Sailing, where the 12-string guitar kind of comes back. Where it's very kind of starts out pleasant before kind of taking on the more kind of sour, jazzy, noodling kind of feel to it.
Yeah,
Before it like leads back into the album proper. Just like a nice cool down track.
it is. And what I love is when musicians play their instruments in like non-conventional, like straightaway note ways. Like the fact when he was doing like the guitar trills or whatever. God, I've only seen one musician do that like in front of me, and it's not easy.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's really not easy at all. Like I can't even like fathom it.
No.
To do it with that much like veracity and like power, it's fucking
it's commendable.
Sorry, ferocity.
Ah,
like ferocious.
I see.
Yeah.
I get that.
I don't think is veracity a word?
Let's look it up. Got time.
Verocity.
There's veracity.
What does that mean?
Conformity to facts, semicolon accuracy. Officials express doubts concerning the veracity of the story. Like the accuracy of a story.
I see.
Yeah.
Well,
It's pretty much the same thing, you know?
I think every single fact I've given on the Family album
lacks veracity.
was given with the utmost veracity.
What the fuck are you talking about?
One might say.
Everything I say is veracity.
I love
Veraccurate.
Veraccurate. I love 3 a.m. by
Matchbox
Sum 41.
41. Yeah.
Yeah, they're the same band, Fataday.
Well, that was Gone Sailing. And this
good.
bit has gone on way too long.
I would totally agree with both of those things.
So let's hop back into bundles with bundles.
Dude, the drums are fucking cooking
Absolutely,
on this track.
dude.
Like, oh my god. The first like minute of the song is insane.
Oh yeah, man. It's awesome. I love how like these songs have like different sections in their own. They're always like transitioning and expanding into new ideas, which is perfect. I think this song has like a weird transition from Gone Sailing. It feels like a little kind of wonky. But like once again, like the song proper, it's very fucking good.
There's a nice happy medium of like structured segments. I feel like in
totally.
the song. And in times like this, at this point of me listening, I was thinking about like the only other comparison I can make with like how much better this is alternatively. The only other comparison I could like think of was like Mr. Bungle.
Okay.
And how they were very much like trying to throw these segments like into your face. And like
the switch on a dime.
While that is like a genre thing for them with their sort of like avant-garde, jazz adjacent like metal. I think like it was nice kind of seeing sort of a similar level of like energy and variety, but way more like
tonally consistent,
doctored, tonally consistent, and like yeah, let's just say those.
Okay, cool.
Pulled back for lack of better terms.
Reeled in.
Yeah,
cool.
It lays it all out so well in a way that's not just like obnoxious as much and just works way better flow wise.
Totally.
God, like this fully deserves the hype of the title track.
Oh, absolutely. It definitely earns it with all like the ideas that it expands. I like the slowdown that happens and it leads into like a more kind of ambient feeling.
Yeah.
Like portion of the song, which is really cool. As you said, the drummer is fucking going off. Like the accent it hits on the ride bell here especially like stood out to me. The guitars wailing, they're just fucking incredible towards the very end. And I think at the end it switches like a 5-time signature.
I wasn't counting at that point.
There was something going on. I couldn't figure out exactly, but it was like kind of funky, which I liked. It was cool. And yeah, Bundles is just, it definitely earns the title track.
It definitely does.
And it has a 6 fucking transition to the next track.
I like this track a lot.
Land of the Bag Snake fucking rules. I love this track.
Charlie, the land of the bag snake.
The land of the Bag Snake.
Frank, I don't want to see the bag snake.
That's where the night crawlers are from.
Give me that leg, boy.
No.
Give me that bag snake.
I think like the way this track opens with that organ and like the guitars wailing is such a great intro to this track.
Yeah.
It like soars. I love it.
Oh my god, yeah. And then like as the song progresses and like everything's kind of holding it down as like the guitar is just sort of like going ape shit,
shredding
like,
along
on top of it all. Oh my god, it's such a great like lead up.
And I feel like it kind of harkens back to the funky kind of sound from part 4.
Yeah.
It brings that back, which I really fucking love. And especially like, it gives the bass more of a chance to shine here, which is really nice.
I was gonna say, yeah, the bass cannot go unappreciated.
Yeah.
With this track, like, oh my god,
it goes the fuck off.
it's cutting it up, but also holding it together, which
Absolutely.
is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That's my new phrase, cutting it up.
I'm going through a phase. Trying something new.
Yeah, it was punchy. Then it was. What, did I have anything for season 2? No,
I don't know.
I don't think I did.
You meant Maledetta. That was your catchphrase,
yeah,
right?
Shit. How could I forget about that? I use it in like every single episode.
Guys, we're going to play a clip of from season 2 of Matt saying his famous catchphrase.
I don't want to talk about track number 12. It's boring.
Okay.
Let's get to our final thoughts.
Sounds good. Matt, what did you think of The Animals Christmas?
Hey, Maledetta.
We are the definitive Animals Christmas review now. Wow, that was a good clip.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. Really, it harkens back to our season 2 era, you know?
Yeah, I know. I wonder why I stopped using that.
Yeah, I don't know. Kind of weird. But I like cutting it up. It's pretty good.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. The song does fucking cut it up. I kind of wish the horns were a little more prevalent on this track. I'm kind of missing them a little bit. I haven't really heard them get their moments to shine in a while. But I think the guitars more than make up for that. Like, just what the fuck they're doing is great.
I would agree.
Mm-hmm.
I love at the very end when they're all playing like really quietly.
Yeah, dude.
As it's
oh my god.
Like you still have like all. It feels like storing kinetic energy almost, which I don't actually think is possible now that I said that out loud.
It's like in Black Panther when like he absorbs the purple and then he explodes the purple.
Well, in that instance, it's possible, but unfortunately,
Wakanda's not real.
No, unfortunately, it is not. But I feel like they're storing like so much fucking like unbridled energy as they're just like waiting for this next song.
I know. To just go into like, and I like how it's like bass led too. Like that's really fucking cool at the very end.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Land of the Backsnake is a highlight for me. I love this track.
I would agree.
And it leads into a track I actually gained a lot of appreciation for, which is The Man Who Waited Trains. This is just like classic jazz.
Yeah.
I love it.
No, I liked it. It's a very nice come down.
Absolutely.
And I really like.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the song for me that is the album cover.
Honestly, yeah. That's Mr. Bundle.
Mr. Bundle? Oh my god, yeah.
That's him.
Like personally, I feel like when I mean, granted, there's no other mention of a man on this album.
Or vocals at all.
2 out of 10, really.
Yeah. Could use more accordion.
Yeah, no, oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I like this. It's super mellow.
Yeah, very laid back.
I love how the end half of all the musical phrases, the bass like walks down the notes, and the drum just like follows it.
Yeah,
like, it's just.
And I love the little horned accent parts, like the dun 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 dun. And there's also like auxiliary percussion here too, which kind of like add on to the feeling of the train, where this whole like melody is kind of like chugging along. Yeah, that just kind of like adds on to it. This song really reminds me of like Herbie Hancock music, which I fucking love. Like Herbie Hancock is a favorite jazz artist of mine.
I gotta listen to more of his stuff.
He's got some good shit. Quite enjoy. And like I said, I was missing the horns in the last track. Here they are. They come back, and it makes me a happy boy. Yeah. So next up is Peff.
Yes, it is.
This one's pretty cool. I feel like in the grand scheme of things, like it's still good. Not quite a favorite of mine. I don't really like have too many standout memories of it. But like where it is on the album, it's great.
Yeah. I mean, I really like the woodwind solo.
Definitely. Yeah.
It almost sounds like ethereal. The keys are really like they're really good on this track too, I would say.
Yeah.
I think it was at this point in the record where I was really starting to appreciate the pacing.
Okay.
Because I felt like the pacing on this record was actually pretty decent.
Definitely. It kind of knows when to pick things up and slows things down very well.
Like I wasn't getting fatigued here, which I really appreciate.
That's great because this is like third to last, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I do like how it picks up a lot more in the second half when the guitars come back. It kind of like lets the horns do their thing in the keys, and then it kind of goes back into the traditional guitar-led stuff because we're gonna lose that in the very next track.
And then it sounds all glitchy and shit.
Yeah, that was cool too. I also like how both guitars have like their own spot on the channel on this track too, and how they just like support each other. It's very, very well done.
It is. Truth be told, not the same artist whatsoever. But whenever I see the word like a word that has like P and then F and F, I read it as puff.
Yeah,
which makes me think of
Puff Daddy.
Puff the No, definitely not. It makes me think of Puff the Magic Dragon that lived by the sea.
To clarify, that one specifically.
Yeah, by Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Yeah, not the one who lived in Baltimore.
Yeah, that's Andrew Cavalier.
Yeah, Puff the Magic Dragon is an apt term for him.
They don't call him Smokestack for nothing.
I tell you.
We gotta stop doing Rodney Dangerfield bits.
It's too infectious, dude.
That's not the response that needs to be said
about Rodney Dangerfield.
But this track is good.
Yeah, I like the horns. I think kind of like wild and crazy, chopping in and out, and just sound like overall like more frantic and chaotic. It's solid track, not a favorite, but solid for what it is.
Yeah,
and like you said, for like at this point in the album, that's still impressive. You're not fatigued. The next track over, I'm not too big a fan of. 4 gongs, 2 drums. I like that they're giving like the percussion like a big chance to shine, but it's more auxiliary focused rather than like the kit, which I would have liked to hear personally. Just any more whatever the fuck Marshall's doing beforehand instead of like the Majora's Mask theme.
I was gonna say it reminded me of the dream sequence from In the Court of the Crimson King.
Oh, okay. What the fuck's it called?
The Grand Illusion.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's a moon dream.
In the Court of the Crimson King, the Grand
Delusion. By the Styx King Crimson collab.
Oh, God. It's just so funny to think about because I feel like the members of King Crimson were like such better musicians than Styx.
Absolutely. Like, no fucking... Yeah, absolutely. No contest.
Oh, my God.
Moonchild. That's what it's called.
Moonchild.
Yeah. But yeah, I can definitely see that in the way it's like very much more avant-garde.
Yeah.
Just kind of experimenting with different sounds. I think I looked up this instrument. What's it called?
A mellotron.
A Chinese opera gong. That's what the bing, 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 bing. That's reminding me of the Majora's Mask
21st
theme.
21st century
skits.
This song sucks. Like, actually, I hate it a lot.
Really?
Yeah, because I counted like 5 gongs and like 4 drums.
False advertising.
To be honest with you, like, this is the worst album I've ever heard in my entire life.
This track alone,
I was doing great, and then
ruins it.
Once I counted like 5 gong hits,
I closed my laptop.
It's worst thing I've ever heard. No, I mean, it's not bad at all, actually. I like how it's artsy, and I think it's cool that this album shows range.
Yeah, it lets every instrumentalist kind of like get a chance to shine, which I very much appreciate.
It's not quite what I would have imagined, but I think my ears were happy.
Yeah, I think it's probably my least favorite track on the album.
But even though it might be your least favorite, and probably my least favorite too, to be honest, and maybe arguably the weakest track.
Yeah.
It didn't detract my experience, like, at all.
It's fine. Yeah, it's just fine for what it is.
I just wish they could have counted a bit better, but,
Yeah, that's just me. But last off, we have The Floating World, which is, I think, a really nice closer.
Dude, I love Floral Shop, let me tell you.
Yeah.
I fucking love Floral Shop.
Mm-hmm. The fucking keys on here, yeah, I see why.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
I can see that. It's very ethereal overall.
It's this nice, like, mellowed out, like, Rhodes keyboard.
Yeah, man. Oh my God,
like,
it's so
wind.
lush.
It's really nice. And I think, like, having this calm of a song and the record is what it needed.
Absolutely, because like with all like the frantic, like the jazz riffs, the solos, the sporadic drum fills, like there's not really a lot of percussion on here.
No, like if any, there's like
there's
little
like
bit
wood blocks that come in like way later,
and it's like pitched percussion.
Yeah, it's no kit from what I remember, but it's very like ethereal track. It very much kind of paints this picture of like a floating kingdom or something, like you just like flying through it.
Yeah,
it's very well done. It really just coats this track in just like a lush texture, and it's a really nice way to just mellow out this album, kind of send you off with like a nice kind of calm feeling.
The musical phrase, like the piano is playing, it reminds me of how part of the theme or Beneath the Mask.
Oh yeah,
from Persona 5.
Totally.
It kind of reminds me of that too.
I could see that, especially in the way they sound. Yeah, I think it's just a really good closer.
It is.
It's just very pleasant to listen to.
It is.
But if we got nothing else, shall we get into our final thoughts?
Yes, we shall.
All right, Matt, what did you think of Bundles by Soft Machine?
This was honestly a really great listening experience for me. I enjoyed the album thoroughly, from its pacing to its actual musical content. I'm happy with its peaks and valleys in energy, both not getting either overwhelming or unsubstantial. I almost wish I could listen to it for the first time again. I don't think I'll be listening to it like too often, but this is definitely going up there as an album I will recommend people if they want to just listen for like good musicianship.
Nice.
Because I think that's what this album really shows at its heart.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate it for that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it like a low A and like an 8.8.
Nice. I'm glad you had that much enjoyment for it. I think this is definitely an album that I grew to appreciate a lot the more that I listened to it. Because I went through like a kick where I was just going through like the classic prog albums, and like this one came up, and like I could instantly see why. Like it's fantastic, and it got me like more into Soft Machine, which is a band that like varies like kind of greatly in sound, which is cool. It's like a lot of their albums are like pretty different from each other. But like this album gets better every time I listen to it. The instrumentalists are just crazy fucking good.
Oh my god, it's
yeah,
insane.
It's just like the sheer
how good they are.
The technique, the control they all have, and how everything just works in tandem to create these like amazing soundscapes where like each instrumentalist gets their chance to shine is amazing. Shout out to Holdsworth with his guitar work. He's like primarily carrying like all these melodies and riffs, and they go so fucking hard on every track. Shout out to John Marshall on drums. Holy shit, that man carries this album.
Absolutely fucking ripped.
Like it's the sheer speed at which he plays these fills is so goddamn impressive, and just like the amount of variety he has as well around the kit is great. I like the bass work a lot on this album. I wish I could have, it was like a little boomier. Like it's clear in the mix. I just wish it had like a little more oomph to it. But like it's still very well done. And I like the key work as well. It's very divine, and it often carries melodies in place of the guitar or the horns when they're not around.
Yeah.
But some of the key-led tracks I'm not like the biggest fan of because they don't have as much impact as the guitars do. But like when they work, they really fucking work. And the horns are just like always a nice addition of texture, like whenever they're included. And I agree with you pacing wise, this album is very solid.
Yeah.
I think like some lower points at some points with like 4 gongs, 2 drums, but like overall it's like it does not feel like 40 minutes.
No.
It flies right by.
It really does.
Which is great. It's always an awesome album to revisit, and my enjoyment increases every time. So I'm giving this one an A-, possibly going to move up to an A. Quite enjoy.
This is a very agreeable episode.
Yeah,
I feel like.
pretty much.
All right, here's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Since it's over, let's start. We got to disagree on something.
Okay.
So let's start sharing some hot takes.
Okay.
Just about, like, it could be music related or
Music
not.
related.
Give me a hot take, AJ.
Arkham Knight is the weakest of the Batman Arkham trilogy.
I've never played it. However, I am a diehard Asylum fan.
That's my favorite game too.
So quite frankly, you're probably correct.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's not like the hottest take. I feel like people like really fucking love that game, but there's a lot of noticeable flaws that people agree on. And as a finale, it's pretty good, but it could be a lot better. Could have been a lot better.
I personally did not get through the first like 5 minutes of me playing it because unfortunately I don't have a system that can
run it properly.
Run it properly.
Yeah.
So I was just like, yeah, fuck this. I'm not even gonna try. My hot take, this is a dumb one, but I shared this. My sister and I were talking about like just like live action remakes of Disney movies not too long ago. And this might be a hot take. I don't think Beauty and the Beast live action was bad.
Never saw it.
I don't think it was bad.
Fair enough.
I thought it was fine.
I think the sheer concept of live action Disney remakes
Everything
is
is just stupid,
Yeah.
you know. But I feel like out of all the live action movies, that one is all right. And I will never watch live action Aladdin.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Valid.
but trying to replace Robin Williams with fucking Will Smith.
Yeah, it didn't work.
No, it did not work.
Yeah.
Let's do 2 more.
2 more hot takes.
Like I'll do one and you do one.
Oh, okay. I like that.
No,
I like that better.
Not like
It's like, oh fuck.
we could do that for a whole episode.
Just a hot take. Family meeting. Hot takes.
Actually, it's not a bad idea.
Write that down.
Shit. Include like the pencil scribbling noises from like Stan by Eminem.
Oh my god. Died, but it's just Stan in the
Dear
background.
Slim.
Shit, what other hot takes do I have?
Let me think. I feel like I had a good one on the way here.
Star Fox Adventures is not that bad of a game.
I never played it. Is that the one where there's like dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because that was the one that like JonTron a long time ago was like, it's terrible.
I'm racist.
Yeah, that part of the episode, honestly, people don't talk about it
Honestly,
enough.
aged pretty well. Gotta say.
I'm racist. It's terrible. I love it. Oh my gosh. Why do people say it's terrible?
Because it came after Star Fox 64, which is like the most beloved game in the series. And it took Fox out of the cockpit. And originally it was a game called Dinosaur Planet that was developed by Rare, the people that made like Conker's Bad for a Day, and like all that game. And they were like, oh, that would be a cool game if we put like Star Fox characters in it. So basically had to like rework their entire game to fit like a Star Fox narrative. And the two did not mesh very well because like it was an action adventure game instead of like an on-rail shooter in space. You have this little dinosaur companion named Tricky, who people claim is very annoying, which I can agree, but he's a little charming sometimes.
Okay.
And it's just kind of like a Zelda clone as opposed to like a traditional Star Fox game. And it's very much like Star Fox is horned into a completely different game.
I see.
Is why people don't really like it. But like playing through it, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I had fun. It was a good time. And I think it gets too much hate, but it could have been way better.
You made me think of a game hot take.
Okay.
Because for a long time, people were shitting on this game, and then people finally came around, and I'm like, no, you all were fake fans.
What's that?
But The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword
Amen.
is arguably like one of these best Zelda games of all time.
I fucking love Skyward Sword. It's fun.
And it should not have gotten any hate whatsoever. I remember a friend was trying to tell me like, oh, well, the existence of Fi in the Master Sword. Why? Where was she before? Why is she just here now? Like, who is she? It's like, okay, remember, these are like different timelines. I'm pretty sure the Master Sword isn't the same in each iteration.
In each game. I wouldn't know.
Like, I'm pretty sure they're not.
They're
like,
always different.
Like, they're respective to whatever timeline they're in.
Gotcha.
So it's like, it doesn't even fucking matter.
Yeah, the fee is just there in Skyward Sword.
Is it Fi or Fee?
I think that's a debate in
the
itself.
Nintendo Fee.
Nintendo Alarmo.
But yeah, my hot take.
That's where Fee is.
My hot take. That's the best thing Nintendo's put out in 20 years.
I bought 6.
I spent $600 on the Nintendo Alarmo.
Make sure I'm awake.
But personally, I think the game is pretty fucking good.
I loved it. It was a great game.
Everything about it.
I love it. She's like in the sword. I love it. She's only in this game.
I also think the final boss fight of
Demise.
I was about to say Calamity. That's not for a long time. My other hot take.
Yeah.
I think Twilight Princess kind of blows.
I never played it. I want to.
Not the biggest fan of it.
Yeah.
I got bored, and I think the designs are way too creepy to be Zelda. Like, I like the gothic idea, but frankly, I don't fuck with it.
Interesting.
I don't FWI.
What about Majora's Mask? That's like another darker Zelda game.
I love Majora's Mask.
I see.
Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time are, in my opinion, right underneath Skyward Sword for me.
Gotcha. Majora's my number one. I love that one.
I would say I love Majora more than Ocarina.
Totally.
Just because I feel like having the 4 instead of like the 8 is just so much more rewarding.
And like the time travels mechanic is just like
better.
really cool.
It's better. And the songs that you play on the Ocarina are better.
Oh, true.
Yeah. I should really replay that.
I was thinking about that too.
But hey.
This ain't a gaming channel, dude.
Not yet. Anyway.
Not yet. Who knows? Matt hates Flapjack.
Tom hates AJ. The audio only Let's Play. This is our backdoor pilots
for all of these sideshows,
which will totally happen.
Comment what your favorite one is. And also comment if you'd be interested in merch. Maybe we'll actually look into it. Just like Instagram content.
We could do it for like a limited amount of time.
Yeah, we'll make 6.
Yeah. 6 very lucky people are going to get these shirts. But real talk, thank you so much for listening.
Yeah.
This is a very fun dichotomy of albums that we got to review.
Very uncommon.
Very uncommon. Very mindful. Very demure.
This has been another episode of the Family Album. As always, I'm your host, AJ Tenari.
And I'm Matt Glass.
Thank you for always listening and for your constant love and support. And as always, I'm your host, AJ Tenari.
And I'm Matt Glass.
Sorry, I'm having a stroke right now.
I feel like we need to leave this. I feel like we might need to leave this in. This is really funny.
Thanks for listening and for your constant love support, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.